Whether it's between characters on stage or in the ring, in the audience, whatever. And then going into the circus, that all just gets ratcheted up a little more because the expectations are different to a degree. They see you with the makeup on and they say, okay, we got a clown, make me laugh. But they're never going to laugh if you don't connect to them, if you don't show them something that is recognizable, something you identify with, and then make it a real moment that we all share because we're all right here, right now. I am all about clown logic. Clown logic is so important to me, and it is hard to define. But I suppose the clearest way for me to articulate it is at the end of whatever's happened, you have to be able to reverse engineer it. Everything has to make sense. It may not make conventional sense. If the person in the audience knows exactly what's going to come before it happens, then they could have done it themselves. Sometimes it's very rewarding for them to, I know exactly where this is going, I know exactly what this is, and it went there, I'm brilliant for having seen it. Sometimes that was completely neurotic. Why would you do that? But then the next thing has to explain, you did it because you were thinking in this way. To the clown, it makes sense. If this lock is jammed and I can't get through the door, I'm obviously going to need a hammer and a pepper grinder because no other tool will work. Well, why on earth would you need a pepper grinder? It has to be revealed why the pepper grinder is useful, but at the end the audience has to look back and say, apparently the pepper grinder was useful. Otherwise it's just random stuff, and that doesn't tell a story. That's just a series of events.
Yeah, I think the term, it really sums up something that's really important for clowning. You know, it's because it ties into sort of like dream logic. It lets your actions be complex, but also be totally stupid. You know,
yes.
It sort of gives. It's not like psychology, but it gives, like you're saying, a narrative or a justification.
There has to be a flow. One thing leads to another, and the clown may be an idiot, but in my mind, it tends to be more. The clown is more often a simpleton, and the very simple way that the clown views the world, if you are able to think in that same way, well, of course the world works like that. I've been cluttering it up with other things based on my rational experience, but if I didn't have all of that, this would be obvious. If I need to hold 3 things, and I only have 2 hands, and I can see my shadow on the wall, of course I can hand one of those things to the why wouldn't I do that? I don't know why it can't hold it. Maybe I'll try again. But it makes sense to me. And if it makes sense to the clown, then the audience can follow it. If the audience can't follow it, they're going to give up. At some point, they're just going to say, this is nonsense. Lewis Carroll, master of nonsense. And yet at the same time, you read Alice in Wonderland, you read Through the Looking Glass, there is a certain logic. One thing follows directly from another. We have jam every other day. Why do you never have jam? Because it's always today. It's never another day. Listen to the words. It makes sense. Why aren't you paying attention? I love that stuff. I am fascinated by unexpected things. I like people watching, and sometimes I'll see somebody do something and I'll think, okay, that's interesting to me. I want to play with that. Sometimes it's a prop or a device that I'm working on a William Tell show. I'm building a crossbow. And part of my goal as I'm developing this is to, and it's very much, I'm looking at the crossbow as a puppet. It will do things that a crossbow shouldn't do. So I'm going to spend a lot of time once I've finally finished building this prop just exploring what does this provide for me? What are the opportunities I have because of this that it wouldn't otherwise have? Sometimes it's much more abstract and I suppose artistic, some grand notion that I want to explore. I will often ask myself, whether it's a show or a movie that I've watched or a show that I'm working on, what is this about? And the answer can't be more than 2 words. This is about fear. This is about joy. This is about desperation. This is about hunger. This is about whatever it's about. And just riff on that, something that everybody can relate to. Start nice and broad and then start to make it specific. And sometimes wonderful things come out of it. Sometimes absolutely nothing useful comes out of it, and you set it aside. Well, that was some time I'll never have again, but it was fun. And undoubtedly, at some point later, all that time that I thought I wasted will become useful again. Like, no, I've already been through this. I learned something there.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom. Ooh, jeepers.
Young clowns coming up in the world today.
Clowns. Watch everything. Watch anything and everything. Think about it all, but not too hard. You don't want to suck the joy out of it, but at the same time, if there's something you like, why? Why did I like this? If there's somebody whose work you particularly enjoy, what is it about that person? I've been working with Barry Lubin and I've learned a lot from him, and there are things that he does that I would never come up with on my own. Sometimes those are things that I can use, sometimes they're not, but it's good to know that, okay, I couldn't do that, but now I know. And by learning that, I also then learn what's more true to me. This is a thing that's a Matthew thing. I now know that. Other people are more able to tell me what my work is like than I am. If somebody says, describe your work, I don't know, I'm a clown. Somebody else can come in and say, let me tell you about this guy. So I can't.
Right, and you talked about anything, do you have anything like coming up that you want to share? Or you talked about with William Tell, you're working on.
I'm developing the William Tell thing. I'm working with a partner on a comedy magic show, The Amazing No-Show. Hercule No-Show is the world's greatest magician, but when he does not come to work, the stagehands have to do it for him. And I've been learning some magic, and I really like the way that's shaping up. And and at the end of the summer, I'm gonna find myself with a lot of time on my hands. So hire me.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much, and check it out on YouTube.
Yay!